Okay, so you've probably seen this stuff everywhere. Ads for a supplement that says it can give you a perfect smile with probiotics. The big question is this a real dental breakthrough or just some really, really good marketing? Let's dig in. So you've got these amazing promises, right? And these glowing reviews from people. But then there's the actual science, the hard data. What we're going to do is put them head to head and see what's really going on. All right, first things first, let's talk about the promise itself. We're looking at a supplement called ProDentim, and its marketing is honestly brilliant. Why? Because it hits on something we all want, a great smile, without constantly worrying about it. And they use testimonials like this one from a guy named Theo Franklin. My gums have never looked better. It feels so good to not have to worry. See? That's powerful stuff. It creates this emotional story that really connects with that feeling of wanting to be confident about your teeth. But it doesn't stop with just healthy gums. The claims get even bigger. We're talking Hollywood white teeth, getting rid of bad breath for good, and totally rebalancing the ecosystem in your mouth. They're pitching it as the whole shebang. But what's the secret ingredient behind all this hype? And that's our cue to dive into the science. Time to peel back all that shiny marketing and see what the evidence actually says about what's inside this stuff. Okay, so the main event here is a specific probiotic called Lactobacillus reuteri. Now, this little guy is known to produce something that can fight off some of the bad bacteria in your mouth. That sounds great, right? But the real question is, does it actually lead to healthier gums and teeth when you test it on real people in proper clinical trials? Now, to really get what the research is talking about, we need to know what it's up against. Most of these studies are looking at something called periodontitis. It's a pretty serious gum disease that can mess with the tissues and even the bone that hold your teeth in place. So that's the main problem a probiotic like this is supposed to help with. So how do we find out if it works? Well, this is where it gets interesting. Scientists did what's called a systematic review. They started with a massive pile of almost 300 studies, and like detectives, they filtered and sifted until they were left with just the 11 best, most relevant trials. This whole process is how real science cuts through the noise to find an answer. Okay, so they did all that work. They found the 11 best studies. What did they find out? Let's get to the verdict. And the results are, well, they're not exactly a straight yes or no. Check this out. 8 of those 11 studies did show some real improvement in gum health for people taking the probiotic. That's pretty good. But 3 of the studies found no real difference at all. So it's promising for sure, but it's not a slam dunk. And here's the big catch. When the scientists looked closer at the quality of those 11 studies, they found a problem. Every single one had issues. They were all flagged as having some concerns or even a high risk of bias. What does that mean? It means we can't fully trust the results, not even the good ones. So what's the final word from the scientists? It's super cautious. They basically said, based on the limited evidence, it may provide some additional benefit. You got to pay attention to those words. Limited, may, some. That is a huge difference from the revolutionary promises in the ads, right? And this big gap between the hype and the science, it almost always shows up in the real world. So let's forget the glowing, hand-picked testimonials for a second and see what other actual customers are experiencing. I mean, just look at this side by side. The promise of revolutionary oral health turns into low certainty from the scientists. Hollywood white teeth becomes limited evidence. And that big claim of supports healthy gums, well, that's backed by research with a high risk of bias. It's quite a reality check. And if you dig into the verified customer complaints, you see a whole other side to the story. And a lot of it isn't even about whether the product works. People are talking about really long shipping delays, major headaches trying to get a refund, and customer service that just doesn't respond. Plus, you still have people saying they got mixed results or it didn't work at all, and some even had some minor stomach trouble. Okay, so you've got the big marketing promises on one side, the super cautious science on the other, and then all these customer service issues. With all that in the mix, how do you actually make a smart choice for yourself? All right, if you're still curious, here are 4 practical tips to avoid the common problems. Number 1, only buy it from the official website. That way you know it's the real deal. 2, be realistic. This is not a magic pill. 3, know the deal with a money-back guarantee. It's 60 days, but you have to physically return the bottles, and you're paying for the shipping. And number 4, and this is the big one, talk to your dentist or doctor first. Seriously, a supplement should never, ever replace just brushing and flossing your teeth. So what's the bottom line? Look, the science here is interesting, maybe even promising, but it's very early days. The smartest move is probably to keep your expectations in check and just focus on the stuff we know works. Good old-fashioned oral hygiene. Which brings us right back to where we started. You have these products that live in that gray area where exciting new science meets really powerful marketing. It's hope, but it's wrapped in a lot of hype. So the final question for you is, when it's your health on the line, where do you draw that line?